Hey guys, welcome back. Episode 4 is here. We gotta work quickly. I appreciate all the help that everyone's given me. It's amazing to have so many eyes on this. The detective agency, pretend detective agency that we have running here is really flying by. Ignore the mess in the background. So, disclaimer. We gotta do the disclaimer. All of this is my opinion. Every single bit of it. All of it. I don't guarantee anything. And always remember, I am insignificant, and none of the influencers know me. So even if it wasn't my opinion, it wouldn't matter anyway, because I don't matter. Alright. You guys in the comments wanted it, and somehow we have a fourth story from the eBay seller. I didn't think there would be any way one would surface, but ask and you shall receive, I guess. Today, we're mostly taking a look at the suspects who I believe are behind this. At the very ground level, the very bottom. We're going to start from there. We're going to take a look. We have something special coming up here that we need to look at first from Card Kahuna Jacob. And some hot tips about Steve from BBCE. So make sure you stay tuned. Remember when Jacob was threatening me with legal action for my opinions? Well, now it looks like he tried to bribe me for $500,000. Just a heads up, Rattle Pokemon does not take bribes. That is counterintuitive to my process, to what I'm trying to accomplish here. And it's insulting. It's rather insulting. I don't care if you're a 150 million young man. I don't want your money. So, seems like his personal account. I mean, he says, I will pay you $500,000 to take the video down. This is my personal account. Logan can't open the box. Kind of lines up exactly with how he was feeling, what he was doing at the time in terms of messages with me. And I don't know. Why don't I think this is just somebody that's trolling? At first, I wanted to at least check and see if that could be the case. Probably pretty easy to detect. This was sent, deleted shortly after, in typical Jacob style. So I'm now on screenshot mode, where anything he says, screenshotting it, because if it's in relation to the Logan Paul case, it likes to disappear on his end. Then the account was temporarily disabled. So, yeah, take screenshots if you're talking to Jacob. They pay off, because if not, you'll never be able to reference anything like this. It's not a new account. It's got 380 followers. So it wasn't like they just made a fresh account to send me this message and then disable it or delete the account. It matches his significant other's Instagram. Pretty cute little couple thing. You got to make sure you have matching Instagrams when you're bribing people. Also, I think the most important thing, or the thing that makes me think the most of this is actually him, is there are a lot of Jacob Gabays in all combinations. The underscore in between the first and last name, pretty common. And all versions with the period in between, with no space, with numbers and stuff like that, they're all taken. So the odds that this was available for someone to just switch their name over to it to send me a message, unlikely, extremely unlikely. So if anyone knows for sure, let's talk to Jacob here on this account. I'd love to hear it. Unfortunately, you cannot see any of the tags anymore when that account is temporarily disabled. So we'll just have to leave it at that for now. But just so you perps know out there, you can't bribe me. I'm not going to take your money, and it's going to look really bad. Next up, I've been receiving some reports that Steve Hart from BBCE has received a new motorcycle, or has purchased a brand new motorcycle of the Harley Davidson variety, with a lot of bells, whistles, I think it's a big wheel on the front of it. I'm not a motorcycle guy, but apparently it is an extremely expensive ride. Now, I can't confirm a lot of the details, but what I've been told, this is just something that I heard. I thought it was important to include. I'm not against ruling this out if it didn't happen. But when I hear from multiple people who sound like they're actually from the area, can stuff about the area, and know the area, it's a small town, so they probably know. Apparently, there was a large sum of cash that was included with the that case that ended up being wrapped. Maybe that was the thing that convinced him to wrap it. Again, just speculation here. Just my opinion that could be an option. But maybe that motorcycle made things go a little bit smoothly. So, of course, being the ultimate insignificant detective, I made sure to ask the Harley Davidson dealership nearby. They didn't have any record of Steve purchasing a Harley Davidson, but they did have a record of Troy. So, why did Troy purchase the bike? Is that an alias? Maybe? Probably not, because it's not. It doesn't seem like it's registered to Steve. So maybe that's a relative of his, Troy Hart. Do you know him? And then I thought maybe like, okay, so he just doesn't want people to know that he got the bike, something like that. But no, maybe not the reason. Maybe the reason is some expired plates, some DUIs, maybe some criminal deviant conduct, maybe some failure to stop after accident resulting in damage. I thought those were always called hit and runs, but maybe I'm wrong. And then next, if you thought the inconsistencies were done in terms of the auction itself, it turns out there's more details that make it even worse. So here's the cancellation notice for PSA Pikachu, which I think I've shown before, but I definitely didn't show this. This is the bidding history. So you can see here, the only person with feedback, with any significant amount of feedback, is PSA Pikachu. So here we got like 3 or less feedback on every account that's bidding thousands of dollars. And then we have D&B Liquidations, which is PSA Pikachu, so who won it for that amount. So they not only were dishonest in answering questions about the origin, because there's multiple stories, so there's automatically a lie baked in there somewhere, if not all of them being lies. But also at the same time, they're shill bidding. So what does this tell us about our original seller? It tells us they know a little bit about eBay. They've sold on eBay before. They have more than 15 feedback on their real account, because shill bidding, you're just not going to see that from someone that's never sold things on eBay before. This is seasoned veterans, you might say. And maybe some reasoning behind why I think the suspects that we're going to talk about are the ones behind all this. It's crazy how much information comes up on someone when they commit crimes. They're charged for things. It just pops up all over the place. It's like shooting fish in a barrel, you might say. So here we go. We have the conversation. We wanted to reach out to Jason. So here is PSAPikachu.com, who says, "Hello, is this Jason, who has previously been operating or connected to the Gathering Ground website and business that dealt in hobby trading cards?" And he replies with, "Who is this?" That's sort of a weird way to reply when it's your business that someone's asking you about. Like, there's nothing aggressive here whatsoever. And he's just defensive right off the bat. He says, "Hi, I'm owner of PSAPikachu.com and also run a TCG business online. I was doing research into a topic that needs urgent questions about a case going on in the hobby. Nothing negative on your part, but I was wondering if I had the right number to someone who used to own or work for that website. My name is Dylan, Is this Jason? Sorry for the random message. Was just hoping and looking for help with information. And he says, that is my company. So he's being a little short here. Being a little short. So he says, no clue where this information is coming from, nor understand why I getting text at midnight about anything. So like, just turn your phone off. Don't answer until the morning. Just get back to the person in the morning. Like they're really inconveniencing you. I'm completely sorry. I had forgotten the time difference for you. I'm in Las Vegas, so I did not mean to disturb you if you were on the East Coast. If you would be open to me asking these questions tomorrow when it is more appropriate, I would so appreciate the time, and if I can even compensate you too, I would. There's been a deal in the Pokemon hobby getting controversy for an old sealed high-end case of older boxes, which was sold originally by someone who emailed me using an address linked to your business that I cannot verify, and wondered if you knew information on that connection. So, I mean, maybe at this time it wasn't verified, but the email address used is Jason's, Jason W. It's his business. He registered the business all over the place, different locations, as we'll see, spread all over. Real locations, probably not most of them, but when you're a scammer, you gotta stay on the move. You gotta have fake game stores to sell your scam products. So here, Pokemon hobby getting controversy over an old sealed end case. I think we missed the bottom part of this. Did we? On that connection? No, we're good. We got the whole thing. Hi, Jason. Are you still available? Do you know a Justin W. or Justin Martin? So, I mean, I guess it's just Justin Martin for their intended purpose. It was Jason W. on the email because he accidentally used that one. I think someone told me that they accidentally send emails from the wrong email all the time on their iPhone because it'll auto default to one or the other. And that's maybe what happened. Things are only getting worse online with no answers. Respectfully, if you have no statement, things will just get worse in public opinion. Online where and what? I can't believe you were sending me this text on a Sunday night. Like, what? So like Saturday wasn't good. So Sundays also, like, don't send me this on a Sunday night. Is that like a rule or something in your household? There was a $3.5 million deal made with concerns of your authenticity that has your company's name tied to it. I'm sure you'd want to at least hear about it if it was not of any acknowledgement to you. I'll send you links if you need to. Articles talking about it. All right. So here we go again. You bothered me about this damn case long ago. Could care less to help anyone out makes me nothing. Why do you care so much? Yeah, go just stop your investigation, would you? Pretend that you never got an email from me. You lose a lot more staying quiet. Why does it not make you anything? Is protecting your name not enough? I'm coming in peace with no vicious intent of being rude or anything, just asking for help. So there you have it. This is Jason in a nutshell. This is him being defensive. It's weird that I guess it would be just as suspicious if he'd stopped answering altogether. But the fact that he's so aggressive and so against it and doesn't want to find out how he does nothing to do with it. If someone hacked his email, which I'm sure he might claim at some point in time, or maybe that would have been a better way, or just say that he doesn't have the email anymore. But that would also be a lie because it's connected to everything else, and that's just not happening. So here we have an old post on Pokegym, the Gathering Ground, I guess, name, and signing everything as Jason, which is super useful because he signs everything else as Jason. I mean, I guess including his work email. In the address itself, we have more information. Just the address changes so many times with this Gathering Ground Inc. that it'll blow your mind. A lot of them, I'm not even sure how he registered to these locations. Like, it doesn't make any sense. It's very sketchy. In 2014, he wiped the old eBay and opened a new one where he became WoW Loot Sellers. And I remember ever since I got back into Pokemon, I was always warned, or I always heard bad things about WoW Loot Sellers. Some people are like, oh yeah, nothing happened. Like, I just received my items. It was perfectly fine. But as you can see here, with a 95.4%, you had to be doing something wrong with that big of a sample size. When you're hitting 20k feedback, you shouldn't be anywhere near 95%. You're scamming some people there, and you're being an asshole. Just straight up. So here we go. If we scroll down here, we just see scam after scam. How similar does this look to the last video where we looked at the Gathering Ground reviews? Basically just shafting people left and right, and there's pages and pages of it. Just I mean, when you deal with that much volume, you're going to end up with bad reviews, but you're not going to end up with that many bad reviews. Like, he's ripping people off. He is a scammer, and he's almost certainly in on the current scam, the Logan, what is now the Logan case scam. Also, nice little tidbit here, and a large reason why people don't want to interact or call him out on his shit, pun intended. We got a little case here where it looks like he sends poop to people that return stuff. So you have somebody that was missing part of their item. They sent it in for a return, and later on they received a mysterious package with poop in the mail. I have no idea how many laws that's breaking. I'm sure it's a lot. It's doing something. It's doing something. So that's the type of person you're dealing with here. That's why people don't want to speak out about this guy. He's a bully. He's a scammer. And I'm going to gladly call him on it. It's obvious. You can't have that many bad reviews and be an honest person. That's just not how it works. So it goes without saying that you should definitely not interact with this individual. There's a chance that you're going to get your item, but there's another chance that you're just not going to. And then the headache that is going to be involved with getting it back, if something isn't done about this person, just not worth the risk. Stay away. Stay far away. If you see something for sale from this guy, just buy it somewhere else, for the love of God. Save yourself the headache. So let's look at some of the properties that are apparently game stores, but not really game stores. It's pretty funny that one of the places that are listed for the address is actually an appliance place. Probably want to stay away from the same person on Amazon. Seems like he's all over the place. 83% positive reviews on Amazon. How? Maybe I'm just not aware. I don't sell on Amazon, so I have no idea if it's a difficult thing to get good reviews. But I mean, I guess it compares to their other reviews. And there's just a plethora, as I mentioned, especially if you commit crimes. There's going to be so much information on the internet that is ridiculous. He's got businesses that are shifting all over the place, most of which probably aren't real addresses. But that's just it. Shift stuff all over the place. Very sketchy. Sort of surprised that he doesn't have more offenses here. But here's we got some case info. We got some license permit violation. I don't know what it is about these guys. Is it something to do with, like, they just they're edgy and they don't want to have a driver's license and they want to drink and drive? I don't get it. But it seems to be an ongoing theme. Expired plates. I don't need to register my vehicle. I actually don't know how it works there with the expired plates. I would imagine that it's something similar to here. But Here we go. We got some more addresses for Gathering Ground Inc. Here, apparently at one point it was located in a bridge center. Very interesting. Couldn't find anything to do with the actual location being there. So I don't know if they just borrowed the address. If they knew somebody that owned the bridge center, maybe, and they were running it out of there that way. Your guess is as good as mine. The one thing, though, if you're paying taxes and actually have the location, that's something that can be verified. And then also in terms of building permits and stuff like that. So if you don't own the location, I mean, there's not going to be a whole lot of trail there because you're not going to have that paperwork to do. I don't know. It's a mess. You're a mess, and you're scamming people and hopping all over the country, hopping all over locations for your fake game store that scams people. And it's a shame that eBay lets stuff like that go on. I was recently talking to Jacob, who, again, it's almost worse to talk to him to find out about the story, other than the fact that you just know that he's lying about everything, because everything contradicts itself. The stories always change the next time he tells you, like drastically change. Like the details that are essential to the story change completely. It's not like a small detail like putting out a cigarette on your boot or something like that. So he basically said that, or he wanted to push it on to Pokaju. That Pokaju was, I guess, responsible for finding out about the individual, about the person that was selling. It was all him. So I asked Pokaju, and this is the fourth story for all you guys that were waiting for it. My apologies, it's kind of like a third and a half story. But I asked him, you got the version of the story with the house they purchased having boxes in the attic? And he said, that version of the story was not the story I was aware of. The one I'm aware of is that he bought from an estate or a yard sale, and the reason they were selling is because his nephew was diagnosed with a form of leukemia and needed the funds for that purpose. The variations of stories I was aware of were the same, but slightly different details, like it was his mother who was sick and not the nephew. So now we got a sick nephew instead of a sick mom. Dude, like, if you guys didn't know or didn't have a hunch that this was bad, that kind of shows it. Like, there's no, you can't possibly believe that it's real at this point. When you guys received multiple stories, it's a different thing if like PSA Pikachu later sends you some stories and you're like, oh crap, it's too late, and then you just don't inform anyone about it. But you already had multiple stories yourself, and then you got more stories. There's so many stories. How can you trust the box? How can you trust the seller? And you have to basically be blindly just believing that, I don't even know. You can't even justify the actions that took place after this. Because if you guys know the multiple stories and you still try to get it authenticated, that's almost as bad as being in on the actual repack or whatever went on, creation of this case. And I'm not even ruling that out, especially with Jacob. I think there's definitely a possibility that he somehow got in with the scammers, is in on the whole thing, is on the repack, knows all the details about it. Because he's dodgy. He's lying, he's dodgy, he's trying to cover things up, he's lying, he's 1 minute he's erratic, 1 minute he's gonna sue me, the next minute he's going to bribe me. Like, dude is just panic mode central. He knows it's fake. So clearly, I mean, as far as I can tell, Pokaju wanted the payout for the finder's fee, and now kind of wants to distance himself from it, which I understand. I mean, you shouldn't have got involved in the first place. I feel like you can't be that naive or gullible to believe that it was a real box with the multiple stories. Maybe you just really wanted that payout for the finder's fee, and you're like, okay, screw it, they can deal with it afterwards. I think that's your best case scenario here, is you play that card. But man, there's no way. So even then I get stories from Jacob where he went to a hockey game with Justin afterwards. I asked him who was playing, and he said, I don't even like hockey, and it took him a while to think of the Edmonton Oilers. I asked him who they were playing against. I didn't even get a response to that. He just continued on to the next thing. So, did he really go to a hockey game? Did he meet up with him again? Probably. But if he's meeting up with him again, maybe there's another reason that he's meeting up with him again. There was supposedly 3 cases. And Jacob's story has changed, I don't know how many times on this. So, the version from Pokaju, at least as he recalls, he didn't seem certain about it, was that the Shadowless case. So PSA Pikachu doesn't remember there being 2 other cases. You would think those would come up at some point. So extra sketchy that there's this extra product all of a sudden appearing. Whether or not that's fabricated by Jacob, who was using that to validate the legitimacy of the first ed box and hoping that people wouldn't open it, and got it somewhere else, and he's just fabricating that and said he went to a hockey game, but then like he didn't think to look up the details beforehand. That's the only thing I can see. That, or if he did go to meet with them, maybe he's meeting with them in the form that he knows about the whole plot. My best guess is, and we'll see a whole lot more on Micah Birch, one of the biggest Pokemon scammers, partnered up with Jason, almost certainly. Well, Jason is kind of, sorry Jason, but your email, you can't accidentally send something from your email that has to do with the entire event and then play it off like you don't even know what people are talking about. Like, you, come on, man. So, brutal mistake by him, but also Micah, all his scams were in around like a couple hours away, and in Canada, it's pretty close, especially this region that we're talking about here, with the people that are there that are working typically in the oil fields or fracking or whatever. So it's my impression, my best guess is that Micah is running things up there. Jason is down in the US. They teamed up for some reason. If I had to guess, I would say maybe Jason had the ability to fabricate this box that looked almost like a WotC era case, and then the contents could be filled by Micah Birch, who is known as one of the worst people to ever be in the Pokemon hobby, resealing stuff constantly, weighing, selling and trading items that he doesn't actually own anymore. And we're going to look at evidence of all those details. But the biggest thing is the repacks, the reseals and stuff like that, which is going to be super, super important in the, I guess, upcoming event where Logan is going to open the box. I'm going to use this as a warning to them. There's no way, there is absolutely no way you're going to verify this box without cutting it open, taking one of the booster boxes out, opening one of the booster boxes, and opening a random pack. Because if he's got the materials, which he has in the past, he probably still does, and with the amount of money that's going into this, it wouldn't surprise me if they spent the extra money to make the contents actually look like first edition base. So it's forever going to be doubted. The best thing to possibly do is to open one of the packs. Unfortunately, I know that the whole way through on this, people have been upselling it as it's the only case. It's the only case, but no one can legitimately have a case at this point in time. There would even still be doubt if it wasn't for the fact that this was super sketchy, top to bottom, red flags. There's so many red flags stuck into this case that you can't even see the case anymore. Like, there's no room for more flags. There's still flags, but they just bounce off the other flags at this point because they're not even necessary. So yeah, I don't know. It's got to be opened. One of the packs has to be opened. I'm sure it was probably going to get to the point that Logan was going to open them all anyway. But I think to give credibility to the rest of the case, and at the same time, you have to look at the bright side. At least this didn't go on any longer than it had to. If it's fake, and if it's real, there's nothing that's going to make people think it's more real than the fact that there's a real pack that came out of it. That's kind of the end story. That's just going to legitimize or validate the other 5 boxes. I don't think that's the possibility of this being a real case, in my opinion, is slim to none, and it just keeps getting worse the more I look at it. The more I dig into this, the more I see the people involved. All the details just are going straight against this box, and it's nothing to do with who owns it. It's nothing to do with what it is. It could be this could be a box of battle styles or a case of battle styles, and I would say the same thing. I mean, I would probably not spend this much time on it because I mean, the value, you could just replace the case for the amount of time that I've actually investigated here, would not be worth the effort. And typically people aren't going to reseal something that doesn't have value. Where we're getting into higher values in the hobby, especially when it was at its peak, or even now, I guess. Well, it was still peaked pretty hard when these transactions were happening. It just gives extra incentive for these crappy people, these Jasons and Micahs of the world, to want to take advantage of other people. And they've been taking advantage of people for years and years. And I'm sick of it. If you want to play the game of you're going to threaten or you're going to send poopy noopies in the mail to me, I don't care. I'm going to soak it up. I'm not afraid of you. You're a bully, and I'm going to bully you. And we're going to clean up this Pokemon community. We're going to get rid of these people that shouldn't be here, that are taking advantage of other people. I'm done with it. So before we get into Butler here, who has hidden his Instagram when his name was mentioned on E4, as I mentioned in the last episode, I'd like to give Dylan W credit for the edit lie that came from Jacob. He was the first one to send it to me. And thank you to, I don't know how many people that sent me an answer on what actually was changed. You guys are awesome. And I can't wait to get this channel to the point that we can absolutely shut the stuff down before it has a chance to fester and ruin people's experience, ruin people's lives even. Like the amount of money that has been scammed by these two, by Micah and Jason, is life ruining for some people. And we can't have that. There's no reason for it. There's no reason that it can't be called out, and there's no reason that it can't be shut down. And I think this is a good opportunity to do that. I really, really hope that the end result from this does end up in their punishment. If they're guilty, of course, if they're guilty. But there's no need for it. And maybe this is what needs to happen. Maybe the amount of money that's involved. Maybe this is a blessing in disguise that somebody like Logan, they probably didn't have the intention of this getting to the point where it got into Logan's hands or got into someone's hands that would open it. And if there's anyone that's going to open it, it's probably Logan. And if there's anyone that has the ability to throw some legal stuff around that can prevent these guys from hurting anyone in the future, I think it's Logan. Is this his chance, maybe, to be a hero for the Pokemon community? I think it might be. If this is fake, if these guys who have been bullying the little guy for all these years, they've stolen thousands of dollars from people that don't have a lot to spend, or at least maybe they didn't have it at the time. So maybe this is their comeuppings. Maybe this is going to be the thing that changes people's mind. Everyone's like, oh, Logan's bad for the hobby. Maybe this is how he helps the hobby. We can only hope. Anyone that had bad intent throughout this exchange, I'm sorry, but you probably deserve what's coming to you. I absolutely think it's a brave and honorable thing to do when people call out scammers, especially ones like Butler, who have threatened violence. Uh, Great way to get yourself punished by the law, I would think. But yeah, there's just story after story of this guy scamming people, almost always to do with base set. I don't think I've seen him touch anything other than base set, which is extra concerning for the case at hand, since it's base set, and it's, you know, everything that I've tracked down from the Canada portion of this deal is just, it's just a triangulation of hours away, a few hours, a couple hours away, from all the spots that that our boy here Micah used to scam from. So I mean, if you want to close your eyes and believe that he's not involved in it, go ahead. But I mean, there couldn't be a bigger, you know, indicator that he is involved. The type of scam that it would be, where it's located, it's just all around. So is he just using someone as a pretend seller, and maybe that's the explanation for a lot of the conflicting stories, because he just handed the box off to somebody else. He's used other names and stuff in the past, so I would like to say that he's not a very smart individual, but at the same time, he's done this enough that he is at least going to, you know, he's not going to make it blatantly obvious that it's him. He's not going to like take a picture of himself with a name tag on and say, hey guys, I resealed this. No, but obviously these two, even though they're scammers, even though they scam people, they're not smart, and we can absolutely take them down and prevent stuff like this from happening. This is a learning experience for everyone, I think. Everyone should have eyes on this, be looking out for this sort of thing. If it's too good to be true, it is, almost always. And this is another case of that, but I mean, at this point, it's a very expensive too good to be true, but nonetheless, still too good to be true. Here we go. We got another one here. I think this one might be in God tier resolution, but we have a part 2 here of Polka Butler. And he even admits to scamming people in the past and then says that he's not going to scam people anymore. Like, openly admits to it. So maybe I don't have to say that it's my opinion as much on these ones, because he's actually saying himself that he's scamming. Yeah, so these ones are legit factory sealed. So as we'll see later on too, he's bad all around. If there's a trick that he can use to make extra money on the stuff that he was buying and selling, he will absolutely do it. Here we have a nice picture of him. I don't know when this was taken or what article it was from, but it was sent to me. Oh, he's got the nice little faux hawk thing going on. And here we go. Here's his eBay. Stay the F away from this. The online Butler. He's got 100% positive feedback, but at the same time, this is probably where he's primarily selling the cards from the packs that he's opened, and then is putting bad cards in. So if that's any indication, here you go. You got Shadowless, you got first edition base, all this stuff. So he has access to the materials needed to make the box look real. Even if you partly open it, he can still put boxes on the top there. If you do the Gary one flap, you could be asking for a bad time, because then you like have this whole new level of false authentication. It's just BBCE round 2. So here we go. Here's the cards that he pulled out of the packs that he then resold to people with other, you know, base unlimited or whatever, and stuck in them. So if it's him, which it almost probably definitely is, I'm gonna say that there's probably like some base unlimited inside the packs, or maybe even some modern cards inside some. I don't even know if they would go through the trouble to make the contents good, but I would think that he'd at least have the top cases. It wouldn't surprise me if he has 6 empty first edition base boxes that he puts repacks into, or he can put other types of cards and have the long packs on the front side where we've seen them before, where they're taped there so you can't shuffle them around at all and see the packs underneath. Something along those lines, and then clear shrink. As Steve said at BCE, he wouldn't authenticate a box with clear shrink when it was a fraction of the price that it is now, but all of a sudden he's going to authenticate 6 of them in a cardboard box. I don't know how that changed things. Maybe a motorcycle, maybe not. Maybe he just gained a ton of experience since 2020 when he couldn't name first edition base. I don't know. You decide. So we'll take a look at a couple of pictures of our boy Micah here. Not saying you are responsible for this, but there's a very good chance that you are. It fits your description to a T. Not to mention the fact that you went into hiding as soon as your name was mentioned on E4. I would imagine that you're probably lurking there a little bit, right? Are you? Did you see that and you closed out your account? Well, I got good news for you, because I've recorded the entire Instagram account. You got to record things in this line of work. We'll call it a line of work, because you never know when they're going to disappear. Let's take a look at those. Not entirely sure what he was trying to hide there, but maybe that'll be useful information later that we can refer back to. Very glad that I decided to scroll through and do a quick recording. Might prove useful in the future. So here, I thought this was funny. This is on Micah's Facebook. Someone asks him what he does for a living, because he has a sports car, a Lamborghini that he bought from Pokemon, quote unquote. I think he said in one other post that I've seen. I couldn't find that particular post. And in this case, it seems like he might be a little bit embarrassed to be in the Pokemon realm. I think someone told me he is was a drug dealer. I don't know if that's true. I've never purchased drugs from him, but someone told me that was the case, and I guess it wouldn't be very cool to be ripping people off with Pokemon cards if you're a drug dealer. It seems like something that they wouldn't brag to each other about. But here, Micah says, I frack up in GP and then I invest in high-end collector cards and the stock market. So you're full of crap. You scam people with Pokemon base set, and that's about it. Sure, you probably work up there to afford the box, and then you double dip by taking the cards out, selling the cards, grading the cards, selling the cards, pretending to trade the cards that you don't have anymore, stuff like that. Taking advantage of others. Not very nice, Micah. Not very nice. And then, when they call you on it, you're going to threaten them with violence? Is that what you're going to do? I would not advise it. Teach me your secrets. No kids, no GF, no other bills, crying faces. No, those aren't your secrets. Your secrets are that you're a scammer. You're a dirty scammer. And you're a terrible person. You're a terrible person for doing this to other people. That's about it. Here we have another picture of him. I'll cut his mother out. That poor woman. I can't imagine having such a shithead of a child. So here we have some interesting pictures and information from Polka Right, WRIGHT, Polka_Right. He's telling me that Micah had 11 of these. These are fake first edition base boxes. I think this is extremely important, and I love the fact that the channel is starting to get the reach where we can pull this information together from all the different people that are knowledgeable or might have been scammed in the past, or are just familiar with the other occurrences that happened over the years, especially with the track record like the one that Micah has. It's good to pick up on this stuff. So apparently he had 11 of these. He purchased 2, which I think he got scammed on. So the scammer got scammed. It just happens pretty often because scammers are dumb. They're either dumb and fall for each other's scams, or also just like, it's largely to do with people just not remembering that if it's too good to be true, it probably is. So keep yourself safe. Like, don't panic. Don't rush anything. Make sure you're protected. Use the buyer protection afforded by PayPal. Make sure you're picking something up in person. Bring somebody with you. Stuff like that. Just, especially if it's a large purchase, to the point that it's financially difficult for you to get past. I mean, if you're buying like $5 cards or whatever, and someone doesn't send it to you, maybe it's not the end of the world. But when you're buying big stuff like this, yeah, it could be. So on the left side here, we have a base set first edition fake box. As you can see, the color is off. These are not all first edition on the right side, as we'll see in the next image. But the coloring is off, and if you took magnification to it, you would definitely see the difference, even more so. I'm sure it's more pixelated. Probably printed off with something different. The resolution would be different. So here we go. There's the fake box on the left, and you can see the color difference. Sometimes in cards or in boxes and stuff like that, you'll see a slight color difference, but not to that extent. And then again, the most, I guess, useful tool in detecting fakes, whether it be boxes, whether it be cards, anything like that, well, I guess the experience helps, but also the fact, if you have one side by side, then you can tell the difference. You can tell where the issues are. You can tell color differences. If you use magnification, you can do the same thing on a card as we did with the box. If you've seen my video on the Vivid Voltage fake booster box, you can tell just by looking at it. Even if the details were perfect, as soon as you put magnification to it, there's no way to actually replicate it without the same equipment and without the same actual files to print it off, I guess, and materials as well. A little bit harder when it's in wrap, that you can't tell what the materials of the box are exactly like. But weight as well, you can't just go by weight, because these guys that are resealing this stuff, they know how much it weighs. If they had it beforehand, they know how much it weighs to fill it up to that same amount and then seal it. It's going to be very close, and you're not going to be able to tell that way. That's why I'm saying that if it isn't like blatantly obvious like this, if they're actual first edition base boxes, they're going to have to open one of the boxes to find out if the packs inside are repacked, because if there isn't a lot of damage, if there isn't something obvious like on the Rusty, the TCA box, where he noticed a dent or some marks under the plastic where there was no marks on the plastic, if there isn't something like that that's standing out, especially if you don't have the case all the way open, then it might as well be a case of nothing, because you don't know what's inside. Like, the amount of doubt that would be involved is just, it's not worth it. And it sucks that the entire time this has been sold with the premium, or with the idea that it's the only one in the world, and everyone's trying to upsell it for that reason, or everyone's kind of passing it off for that reason, and everyone's afraid to open it for that reason. But it just can't be done until it's opened, until one of the booster packs is opened. I will not believe that the contents are actually first edition base, and even then, they could be repacked to the point that if you did open the one box, you probably want to weigh the packs to make sure that you have the correct amount of, if you open the one box, weigh the packs, make sure that the correct amount of hollows. Those can vary sometimes, but typically it's always going to be the 12. Check that. Make sure you have hollows in there, and also open one of the packs to make sure that it's not like base unlimited in a first edition pack or something like that Micah has swapped out on you. So here we have Pokemon deals, and this is 7 years ago. So this just goes to show how long this guy has been doing shady stuff. Unreal. That you can still be doing this to people. Like, you would think at some point you'd grow up and realize that this isn't a nice thing to do. You're a shitty human being for doing it, but apparently not. Apparently he's still at it, just over the years, just still doing it, still taking advantage of people. And as you can see here, I've watched all the videos. Pretty disgusting stuff, pretty obvious stuff. Man, you had to be painfully dumb to not realize that you're uploading videos just incriminating yourself, doing shady stuff. So he's opening, like, when he opens 3 packs like this here, he'll get all 3 hollows. That just doesn't happen. It's a 1 in 3 times 3. That ain't happening, especially in every video when you open 3 packs. Not to mention the fact that whenever he's opening stuff, he is opening it as careful as possible. It's painful to watch. It takes him like 40 minutes to try to open the bottom of the pack perfectly so that he can reseal it afterwards. And this is in all the videos. Micah, by the way, if you're watching and you were about to go delete the videos or hide the YouTube channel, it's too late. I've already downloaded them all. Do as you will. If you'd like, I can upload them somewhere and we have them archived. But yeah, he gets more upset that if he damages the pack than the cards, and he'll like actually be like jamming the cards out, like trying to push them out with the top. Less concerned about the cards themselves than the actual booster pack wrap, because he's going to use this to put other cards in here and sell this off. Shady for sure. And also with the weighing, at this point in time, it was less accepted, or less the what you have to do kind of thing to weigh the booster packs was frowned upon. In this day and age, you basically just have to weigh them, sell them as the weight that they are, and that's about it. Just to avoid that sort of thing. It's kind of sad that it got to that point, that you had to buy them as heavy and light. It sucks that they didn't have code cards to offset that at the time, but that's just the way it was. With a lot of this stuff, including the case, the first edition base case, or any WotC stuff, the intention wasn't to make it tamper proof and everything else for 23 years from now. It was just a game. That's like why most of the cards ended up being played and everything else, is because most of them were in the hands of children who were slapping them around the playground. Their Diglets were actually going underground when they used Dig. And I don't know how many cards I've heard about that have gone through the washer and dryer. So within that description of the YouTube channel, I guess he was trying to sell through there. I don't know how you sell stuff with 24 subscribers. The 191 views are almost entirely, I'm sure, people that are looking into his scams and everything else, and not potential buyers. But he did scam people, so he found a way to get in touch with them. Here's another reference to that downtown Mike Brown alias that he likes to go by, Mike Brown. That's about it. Here we have a nice little Go Auto review by him. He might have forgot the part where he puts the cigarette out on his boot and he's so bored that he wants to jump off a bridge and stuff, but it's kind of the same long-winded paragraph. So here we have some more Butler, aka Micah avoidance posts here, this time by Professor O'Calley. Great job with this. So here he was trying to trade a Chansey that he no longer owned, that he sold 2 years ago, or over 2 years ago, and then he was trying to trade for some cards, so he would get the person to send to them to him, and then he's not going to send anything in return because he doesn't even own the card anymore. I don't understand. How can you take something that's so community building and just friendly and fun, like Pokemon, and you're going to, scam people over it? You're going to ruin, you're going to take thousands of dollars from people, essentially, ruin their experience, and it could be the amount of money that really makes a difference in their life. Maybe it's something that they need down the road, but at the same time, you're basically just stealing from people. Absolutely unacceptable. So here this is what he was going to trade, and we got the first edition base box and the acrylic. So here they shipped their items to a middleman who lives near Butler in Canada. As soon as I told him I shipped indirect, he backed out. So I don't know if this sounds familiar to you guys, but remember when PSA Pikachu wanted to pick up the first edition base case in person and open it, they back out. Scammers back out from stuff like that because they know they're going to get caught, especially where he was going to open it in person, and then payment was ready in cash. Cash was offered in person, fly to him, no charge to them, just under the condition that it was real. And they back out because you're calling their bluff, essentially. There's no way out of that. He's not going to go meet with somebody and physically take their stuff. He's going to be a fucking coward, and he's going to have you ship it to him, and he's going to not ship anything back to you. So here we go. Just in case there wasn't enough damning evidence, here's another example of some first edition base empty booster pack wrappers. And this is why empty booster pack wrappers are frowned upon. There's some people that want to use them for innocent means. They want to collect them, whatever. But this is what you end up with. You have somebody that's selling a bunch of these. People are going to repack them. They're going to reseal them, and they're going to sell them. For example, this account here, with an N and an E in the name. These are randomly shifted around. Both the N and E are part of the name. And then we have 362 feedback, purchasing 17 empty booster pack wrappers. Again, this is why you have to dissect the case. This is why the case is not a case until you open one of the boxes and you open one of the packs. We have the online Butler. Would you look at that? Remember, we need an N and an E in the name and 362 feedback. Yeah, so he's not only is he opening the packs himself, but and resealing them, putting other cards in and resealing them. We're taking the hits out and putting the cards back in. But here at the same time, he's also buying empty packs to scam people with. So I don't know what to tell you. They're both terrible. Both Micah and Jason are terrible people. They're both terrible for the hobby. And I'm fairly certain it was the two of them together. I don't know why they needed each other. I'm assuming, I just have to assume here, that Jason had some means of putting this together. Maybe he had the components for the case, where we've seen with all the details on the case, we had the tape was wrong compared to other boxes, other WotC boxes, which should have all been printed by the same company. So like the discrepancies, there's no way they're going to change the label size, the label layout. The barcode was wrong. The print on the bottom of the box where it shows the size was correct, but the size of the dimensions was incorrect. The recycle logo and everything else, everything was slightly off, and it's surely an indication that we're looking at a bad time here. And the more I look at it, the more I look into the parties involved. Jason, without a doubt. Butler here, I mean, if you want to like close your eyes and pretend he doesn't exist and it wasn't in his area and it isn't the type of thing that he has done before, it isn't the product that he always does it on. I don't know. That is what it is, but we'll see. I don't think I have anything else to add for now, but you guys, please reach out to me if there's anything else, if there's any way that we can possibly link, if we can link Butler or Micah to the seller, I would love to do so. But we're just gonna keep plugging, and man, it would be awesome if the contents of the box were real, but there's almost no way. There's almost no way that they are. Everything's wrong.